Okay, hello, my friends. It's day 11 of our money manifestation challenge. I'm going to keep this really simple, but this step is very important. You can't improve what you don't measure. So, what you measure, what you pay attention to, what you focus on grows. Often, so many of us don't spend enough time looking at where our money is going, looking at all of the aspects of our money. If you're like me, because I told you that my relationship with money used to be very unhealthy. I could not really pay too close of attention to where my money was because it made me nervous. Even just having conversations about my money made me uncomfortable. So what did I do? I buried my head in the sand. And what happened because of that, I'll tell you my story is I ended up getting in debt. And not just a little bit of debt, but a lot of debt. Over $200,000 of debt. And the reason for that is because I wasn't really allowing myself to look at like the landscape of what I owed and what was coming in because I didn't want to even face it. I would write my bills quickly and I wouldn't want to look at that checkbook because it was dwindling, dwindling, dwindling. And often it was in the negative. So that made me very uncomfortable. And the reason why I was in such debt is because number one, I owed $90,000 in school loans, and I had creditors calling me. And then I decided after, even though I was making great money in sales, I decided after having my daughter that I was just going to quit and let my husband take care of us. And he did well, but at one point or another, it was hard for him to keep up. We had just purchased a home and we went into about $100,000 of debt. So we were almost $200,000 in debt. He wanted to focus on it and talk about it, and I didn't. And I just buried my head in the sand. It wasn't until I did my coaching that I learned that this was coming from my background and all those. I told you before that my parents we didn't have a lot of money. My parents used to argue about money, and there was always a lack and a fear around money. So I've had, and this took me a long time to get over, this fear around money and this feeling of I don't want to deal with it. It scares me to deal with it. And so, right before because of my coaching, I learned that that was creating all kinds of problems in my life. I was having issues in my marriage. I was having high anxiety because once you have issues with money, once you're in debt, it creates a lot of anxiety. And it was creating a problem in almost every aspect of my life. So if you are in debt, if you have issues with money, if you have that type of fear relationship with money, which many of us do, it's impacting you in a lot of areas of your life. I read an article from Mel Robbins, who I love. She wrote the 5 second rule. And when she started her business, she was in over $800,000 worth of debt. Her husband had expanded a restaurant. She wasn't working. Again, she was depressed, anxious, couldn't even get out of bed in the morning. Now she's a multimillionaire. So the things that people like her and I do when you're in debt and you're not dealing is you bury your head in the sand, you don't deal with it. The number one thing that I did that shifted everything for me, because I told you that manifestation is all about energy. What you put out there comes back to you. So when you're in that state of fear, like I was in, when you have debt, when you're looking at your checkbook, when you're looking online at your bank account and it's dwindling, you don't feel good and it makes you feel anxious, right? The number one way to get out of that is to take a look at everything that's going on. Look at it openly, and it's okay. I know it's hard to do. You're going to have to get out of your discomfort, but you should know exactly how much money is coming in every month. And you should know exactly and when your money is going out. When are your bills due? How much are you paying each month? How much should you be paying? How much debt are you actually in? Believe it or not, some people don't even know how much money they have. Some people don't even know how much debt they're actually in. Some people don't even know how much money they need to be paying out each month. I want you to get very specific. I want you to look at everything, whether you do it online That's your homework for today. Or print, it would be great if you could even print everything out and just take a look at it. Even if it feels scary. If I can do it, you can do it. I told you I buried my head in the sand for years. Like, and I want to give you a couple of examples. So think of athletes, right? Say runners. They know exactly what their time is in their run by the millisecond. And they are always trying to beat their time. So I want you to know exactly what you are dealing with here. And it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. So I was in debt, right? I was in $90,000 worth of debt because of school loans. But guess what? I got an amazing education plus an MBA. I had a graduate level education, and I've used so much of that in my career, and it's helped me tenfold to get back, right? So it all comes down to shifting your relationship with your money and even with your debt. It doesn't mean that debt has to be a bad thing. Of course, you don't want to have a lot of debt, right? Nobody does. But you have to come up with a realistic plan for how you can start paying it back. And also, you have to say to yourself, sometimes debt is required for me to get where I want to go. I started my career as a coach with zero, zero. And I was able to make six figures in just over a year. I didn't think I could do that. People told me I couldn't do that, but I did it. And then the next couple of years, I kind of stayed at the same level and I wanted to grow. And 2 years ago, I finally made a conscious decision, and this was very hard, that I had to start investing back in my business in order to grow. So I ended up hiring a marketing team. That wasn't easy. It was very scary. And then that's again, I started to see that number dwindling, dwindling, dwindling in my checkbook. And even though I was getting clients coming in, since I was putting so much money into my business, it was scary for me. So it's really important to know exactly what you want. That's why we really targeted that in the beginning, and then know how you're going to get there and then to be able to let go. But this is part of the reason how I tell you that a big part of manifesting is letting go and allowing, but you also have to take some action. So, this action that you're taking may be the one step is going to liberate you and kind of set you up for success. And that's what happened with me. Remember, I was in debt. The first step to me feeling so much better and to me starting to overcome that, pay it all off, and make more money in the six figures was for me to start really looking at where my money was going and where it was coming, and to get rid of the shame around any of the debt that I had and just take it as everything that's happening is the way it's supposed to, and it's a blessing, and I have to know where everything's going for me to attract money into my life because you can't improve what you don't measure. I want you to remember that. What you measure, what you pay attention to, what you focus on grows. So I'm going to leave you with that. Your homework for today is to look at every dollar, every penny that you pay out each month, every dollar, every penny that comes through. And if you feel fear, fear, anxiety around that, you're going to refocus your energy on this is part of the process. All of these things have brought me where I am today. There's no use to feel shame, and only positive things are going to happen moving forward. So I hope that helps, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, guys.